Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talkback here on your Wednesday morning. I'm Al Quartermon along with Stephen Maxwell. Not sure what's going on this morning. We're having some technical issues. If you've been trying to listen to the station, you probably are not hearing it very well, or at least you haven't to this point. But now it sounds like maybe our voices are coming through anyway. We're trying to get our live stream up and running. We'll get that here shortly as my co host is getting that up and running as we speak. So we know that we're having some issues with the station, and our guy Dave is trying to work on it. So hopefully we can get that fixed for you as soon as we possibly can. Hang on here. I got to make a text while I am speaking. Our audio coming on now.
All right. So what's going on?
Well, when I was driving in, I noticed that the audio was really low on the station. Like I had to crank it all the way up starting out. And then when it went to the top of the hour Fox News, it sounded fine. But then as soon as we went to Louisiana Radio Network, it was back to that really low. So I wasn't sure if we're going to be able to have a show. As you heard, the open when it played was really, really soft. But now that we're talking, it sounds like we're okay. And text messages that I'm getting from people says that they are hearing us now through the app or whatnot. So apparently, as long as our microphones are on, it's good audio. But as soon as we go to what's running through what we call our audio board, then it's low. So anyway, apparently people are hearing us now. So that's the main important thing.
Did you reset the calibrator?
I did not.
Shoot.
I know our guy Dave is on the issue. All right, he's telling me to not run any commercials, just do it live until he can get in. We'll do it live.
When is that?
So we get no breaks.
This is like Al's dream.
Yeah. What? Talk your ear off.
You could talk about all 30 teams.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So yesterday was the day after the MLB trade deadline. So Tarek Skubal made his debut with the Dodgers. Best pitcher in the American League gets traded to the Dodgers in the National League and then loses to the Cubs. I was in a real dilemma last night, Stephen Maxwell. Who do I root for? The Cubs, who I hate? Impossible. The Dodgers, who I loathe? Impossible. It was a real dilemma. But the Cubs...
What's worse, loathing or hating?
I don't know. But the Cubs ended up beating Tarek Skubal and the Dodgers. I think the final score was 5-1. But hey, not going to worry about them because my Brewers just keep on rolling. They won yesterday. First team to win 70 games in MLB this year. And they have done it this year despite not having their number 2 pitcher all season, and their number 3 pitcher is out for the year after only pitching about a month. And yet somehow, with a bunch of kids, they're getting it done. So the Cinderella story of the year, Stephen.
You know, if there is a regular season trophy,
that's right.
That'd be nice.
They would have won it last year too. Oh. But there's not. But hey, that's better than having a team that sucks, you know?
I don't know, man.
What do you mean you don't know?
Like you always kind of get your hopes up and maybe this is it. Maybe this is it.
So you're saying if I was a fan of like the Rockies, then my hopes wouldn't be up and it wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, and you wouldn't even care to pay attention. And then it's like a burden. It's like a yoke lifted from you.
Had plenty of those years. I like this. I like winning.
That's good.
And plus President Trump promised us that we would have so much winning during his years as president, we would get tired of winning. Well, I'm not tired of it yet.
Did you see, speaking of politics, have you been following the race over in Michigan?
Yeah, a little bit. So apparently the Democrat primary is between 2 candidates, the Muslim guy and the other lady.
His name is Abdul El-Sayed, and Haley Stevens is considered more of the moderate candidate. Yeah. Abdul is Islamic progressive. He's being pushed by a popular kind of social media guy, Hassan something. Mm-hmm. He's a Democrat
Piker.
Hassan Piker, Democrat socialist. And so this is a big deal for the progressive left or the Democrat socialist left because where they've been winning are very liberal progressive areas.
Yep.
This is more purple.
Yeah.
Granted, this is the Democrat primary, but it
Well,
looks
plus
like
in
he is.
Michigan, you have a huge Muslim population.
If you go in Dearborn, that is the largest mosque
Yeah.
in North America, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, but it'd be a feather in their cap if they were to win.
Oh, big time. We'll see if they still haven't called it yet, as it's one of those super close races. But
I think she still has a chance.
so you're telling me there's a chance?
I think she does.
All right.
But he's I think one of the big things he's running on is the typical vague affordability, health care for all, no money for Israel.
Abolish ICE, I'm sure, and all the garbage.
So it's that progressive left wing that a lot of people are putting their faith into.
Yeah, we'll see. And we'll see what will happen in the fall when it's Republican against a Democrat. Another race yesterday in Missouri, incumbent Wesley Bell defeated socialist challenger and former squad member Cori Bush to defend his seat. Bush ran on abolishing ICE, ending all funding to Israel, and is a member of the DSA. So,
well, the campaign for Al Said says they won.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But I don't think it's been officially determined just yet.
So he was outspent by $70 million, 11-1.
Wow.
Yeah. We will see. It doesn't mean he's going to win the general there.
Yeah.
But you're starting to see those trend lines that we've been talking about for a while now.
I know. Yep. And in Wisconsin, they have an extremely leftist socialist who's going to be the Democrat candidate for governor. She is a psycho. She's accomplished nothing in her life. She's done nothing with her life, but she says all the things on social media to I guess, get the Democrat support, and she's horrifying. I'm like, if Wisconsin elects her, they deserve whatever they get, and I'll be glad I don't live there.
Is it the one with the sneakers?
Maybe. Hong is her last name.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. She had Piker come in and campaign for her. And it's just, I don't even know what to say. It's stunning that we're at this point. And I think it's a byproduct of a couple of generations of terrible public education where people are not familiar with the principles of liberty. So they're running never worked anywhere in the world, people suddenly think is going to work here.
Well, they're kind of playing off of the whole thing that, I mean this in like very broad terms, the whole thing that MAGA was, that this is all just a swamp, that the Democrat establishment is a swamp. Of course, they believe that MAGA is a swamp, and this is the new populist movement that's going to get them out of that swamp. And so you look at it, everyone thinks, who calls into this show, and most of us think that side is extremely crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. And they think that if you listen to any of their media for 20 minutes, you're going to see that they believe the exact same thing about you. And they have their reasonings for it. So it's the winner. We'll see who the winner will be. The winners will be.
Yep. All right. 318-442-8255 is our number on Talkback. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Al, you're right. On my phone earlier, the volume was real low until you came on, and then it was loud again.
Yes.
But now my AM radio works, but my HD doesn't. So it's just making a hissing. So I don't think it's just my radio, but I was going to ask, once in a while, Radio Dave comes on your show, and I was going to ask him if he has more problems in the winter or the summer. I think it may be the summer now. So anyway.
Yeah.
But like I said, everything except my HD isn't working right now.
Okay. So, well, thank you for the update with that.
Okay.
We appreciate that. Yeah, and I don't know if, sometimes we like to play audio through the Hey, how about that? The Cookie Monster singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Speaking of sports, so I never watch ESPN. But when I go to LAC in Alexandria, they have it on in the changing room. And it was the awful, in my opinion, Pat McAfee show.
Yes.
And so they had Aaron Rodgers come on.
Yeah.
And I was just watching it, and then I was just sitting there getting changed, and then Aaron Rodgers sits down. Did you see it? He just went off on a tangent.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is going to make the news. And he wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
He went on for like 10 minutes about Fauci and these liars and all this and that. So he's very passionate about it, apparently.
Well, if you remember, he was one of the pro athletes that said, I'm not taking the jab. And he took a lot of heat. So I think for him, that was kind of probably a build-up moment. Well, actually, I have some of it right here. Let's play it.
Lead the fifth.
Okay. Okay.
Gotta love that guy.
Okay.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
It's back,
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. 111
You
times.
got a pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And how much time did the network spend at that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding?
Yeah!
Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard
Nah, I
anything.
bet they didn't.
But on that note,
And there was another scandal this offseason, too, involving a voter for MVP, for Coach of the Year. How much time did your network spend? Where's your cap? Did your network spend on
our
that?
network.
I wish I
How
could
much time did you
Go back
spend?
to Fauci. I wish
How
I could
much
to
time?
Fauci. This is awesome.
Go back to Fauci?
Yeah.
Go back to the coward Tony Fauci and his science?
Hold on now.
Who's
Eric.
spending the entire time writing in his diary about how fun it is to be famous? You got to be kidding me.
Okay, so on that note,
What are you going to say about me now?
Debate him.
What are you going to say about me
no,
now?
I got no debate here. You had a 500.
No, seriously, what are they going to say about me now? Now that you can't talk about the COVID stuff because obviously it was made, in a lab in China. That's like not even questionable anymore. Tony Fauci is an absolute criminal. I'm on good terms with my family. I'm on good terms with my family. What are you going to say now? What are you going to say
I
now?
want to let you know. It's been a fun ride for you, I would assume, over the last couple.
You could tell he was venting a little bit.
And you could tell on McAfee's face, he's like, please just stop.
And going off on ESPN is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, he was a little upset about it.
Yeah.
I don't remember him with his vaccination stuff at all.
Oh, that was huge.
Yeah.
Huge story in the sports media world.
I feel like I was paying attention more
Yeah.
to sports back then. I guess I forgot.
Yeah.
We all have amnesia.
Here's some more of what he got to say.
Because I was platforming Aaron Rodgers, who was making the decision that was best for himself. So as soon as I see all this start happening with Fauci, I knew that, boy, you were certainly having a time because your name was slandered. You were called a murderer. You were called a lot of things.
I was endangering my teammates and this and that. Now look what happened. We talked about they suppressed early treatments. They lied about where it came from. Tony Fauci's writing in his journal about, I don't want to, create any vaccine hesitancy if I tell them what the actual stats are. How many papers have been written? How many McCulloughs and Malones and all the great doctors out there who actually did treatment on the front end and repurposed drugs that are the safest profiles in the world. But no, Tony Fauci pushing his medicine just like he did back in the 80s. And now when you have an auto pen pardon.
Hey, Jay, you know what happened.
You have an auto pen pardon. 2 minutes. But and you can't answer one question.
Hey, now real quick.
Not even your name. Come on. What are we
Can
doing?
we do this real
And how
quick?
much time did the network spend on that?
Hey, can we do something for you real quick?
How much time?
All right. A-Raj getting his pound of flesh.
I've always been a huge Aaron Rodgers hater, just for his football.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate when people speak out. But I don't think that's what the Pat McAfee show wanted. But I'm sure afterwards, with all the shares and views they're getting,
Oh, yeah.
they're not too mad about it. But I still hate Aaron Rodgers because of the football.
Yeah. The throw to, was it Jared Cook?
There's been a
Against
couple.
the
There's
Cowboys?
been a couple of them.
I remember that there was a game he was hurt and they had to play Matt Flynn, Packers. Then Flynn was able to guide the Packers to a win over the Cowboys.
Yeah, that happens.
And
Nothing
now
you can
Flynn
do.
is on our sister station, 1410 ESPN.
Oh, he's the Saints guy?
No, Matt Flynn played at LSU, and now he and Jacob Hester do what's called Off the Bench. It's the morning show that runs on the Baton Rouge station, which we carry on our ESPN station. So that's on, I think, from 7 to 10 every morning.
Well, he was always a good top-notch backup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, if you remember, I think the Seahawks gave him starter money to come there, and he kind of flamed out. I want to say they might have cut him after the first year, but then he ended up being a serviceable backup again. I think he even came back to Green Bay for a while.
Yeah, I just kind of hate the Packers, and I had no idea because when I was
How could you hate America's team?
Okay, when I was watching, let's see who brings the ratings every day. When I was watching ESPN that day, it was Mike McCarthy on before, and I was like, Mike McCarthy's the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I guess I missed that one. I got to get back into it. I kind of felt sorry for him.
Yeah, Rodgers was actually set to retire after last year. Got the Steelers to the playoffs, but it seemed like he was going to be done. And then when they hired McCarthy, the Steelers did. I guess McCarthy maybe reached out to Aaron Rodgers and was like, "All right, I'll play one more year." So that's what he's going to do. Now, all the other thing with Aaron Rodgers is they've been saying that he got married in this last offseason, but no one has ever seen his wife or knows who she is. It's very mysterious.
Why is he hiding it?
I don't know. But he also, if you remember, he had become kind of estranged from his parents and his brothers. Well, apparently he's patched things up with his family.
Why were they estranged?
I don't know. That guy's going to have a book come out when he retires because there have been a lot of interesting things about him. He definitely is unique. He definitely doesn't really care what other people think about him, I would say. So, but, McAfee has always given him a platform to say whatever, do whatever, and that's actually, I think, been helpful to him.
He's just he always comes off as, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's just not
a little chip on his shoulder kind of guy.
Constantly, like, dude, you're set.
Not like the kind of guy you'd want to hang out and have a beer with if
No.
you were that kind of person.
No, he's the guy at Thanksgiving I'm going to avoid because he's going to bring up the vaccines again. Like, dude, you may be right, but come on. Give me a break. You have something to say about that, don't you?
Sips tea.
But you don't do that.
I don't.
No,
I really
You
don't.
never do.
No.
You never do. Maybe you should, but you don't.
I don't. I don't need victory laps. I just point to the scoreboard. I go back to what my high school football coaches taught me. Just point at the scoreboard.
And that's the thing. Like, you see a lot of right wingers who were against it from the start come out and say we're taking victory laps and this, that, and the other. But the most of America just doesn't even know. We still don't even.
Right.
We're not educated, or we just haven't paid attention, or we want to move on.
Yeah.
And you're always getting so much information. It's like a water hose with that thing.
Right.
And you don't know what's right. You don't know what's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's if you want to confuse people and take over, use health because it's just.
I really don't talk to people about it because a lot of people, they just are going to believe what they want to believe about it. And the term is cognitive dissonance. When you believe something so strongly and you're presented with opposing information, your brain does gymnastics to try to find a way to completely reject that so it doesn't have to change. Even in light of what is obviously true and right in front of you, you will still do that. And I see that happen so often in so many ways with so many things. And when it comes to the whole pandemic and the efficacy or lack thereof of vaccines, I mean, I I don't argue with people. I'm not going to argue with people. You've got your mind made up, you know? So,
The efficacy of the COVID vaccine.
yeah. And I just want an honest, and we'll probably never get it. I want an honest assessment of what really happened, of what really worked, what really didn't, and what have been the results.
See, I'm not trying to out myself here, but I don't even remember them saying that the vaccines were going to end like,
Oh,
Save it.
100%.
because it's just, we don't ever,
You
we
don't
never
remember
believe it.
Biden having that news conference where he called out the unvaccinated?
I remember that. I remember
It
the one
was
he did of MAGA
horrible.
with the red lights behind
No,
him.
yeah, no, before that.
Oh, okay.
I'll see if I can find a clip of it.
No, I'm just saying, like, you move on in life,
Yeah.
and that's probably not a good thing because we got to prevent things from like this from happening again.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of stuff coming at you.
Yeah. So,
Well, and then you say we want the truth and we want the right information. How do you do that? Like,
yeah,
how are you going to go about that?
it's out. I mean, there's a lot that's out there. It's just people refuse to see it. They don't have the appetite for it. They don't want to. You know, just like the Fauci hearing, there was, like, that's the point Rogers was making. There was very little coverage of it in what we call traditional media. Very little. And if you're on X, or depending on what you follow, in your algorithm, it was nonstop. So
The
like-
Fauci hearing didn't get a lot of coverage.
no,
I don't think so on that. I think it did.
you don't.
Yeah, it was on all the networks and everyone was talking about it. I think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was just around the people who were talking about it.
Maybe.
I mean, it was memes everywhere. It was on all the on the television stations.
Pleading the fifth.
I've seen more about that than anything, to be honest with you. So, who knows? I mean,
Well, do you think
for him, legally.
so? Maybe the hearing itself, but what about the stuff that was in his diary?
I only know about it because I was on the radio with you guys, so
Right.
I'm not going to really comment. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, so that's kind of more my point. When you really look at,
I didn't know a
Rand-
whole lot about the diary until the day of the.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at what Rand Paul uncovered, and people that actually read the files that were released, it is disturbing to say the least. I mean, did you know, for example, that Fauci, after getting the vaccine, developed a heart condition?
Because I heard it from y'all earlier.
Yeah. I mean, but I bet most people don't know that. What I want to know, like, I want to hear the stories.
How old is he? 85?
Something. I don't.
No.
I want to hear the stories of people, what they suffered after having to get it. Because a lot of people weren't given a choice, and they did. Said, well, I have to, I will, I don't want to, but they did. And then to see people have to suffer consequences after that of legitimate health problems. I have a good friend, young guy in his 30s. Oh, yep. Now we're back.
Guy in his 30s.
Yeah. Developed cancer within like a year of getting it. He's convinced that's why. Now,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, it's the fact that people were forced to. Remember that?
Right.
That's something that didn't sit well with a lot of us. And if it wasn't the government, it was your job doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could always say you're going to leave a job, or you have a right to leave a job, and you do.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yep.
But let's be honest, it's not realistic for a lot of people. And if
Right.
you've been there and you're making money, you're feeding your family, it's difficult. I don't have to tell you that. But when it comes to vaccines, we know that there are going to be some adverse effects. I know someone very personally who got the flu vaccine, and it's kind of ruined their life
wow.
past 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just messed them up bad.
Yeah.
And a number of different autoimmune issues, nerve issues. They're nearing bankruptcy because of it if they're not careful.
Yeah.
They're going through stuff like that. So it's a tough thing. And I think the government has a fund or a pot set up just for these things where they pay off people because it's such a common occurrence. So you take the risk and you hope it the reward outweighs the risk.
Yeah.
That's what you always shoot for.
Yep. Yep. All right. Well, we got the phones lit up.
Hey, if we can't get the phones going, talk about a vaccine.
Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for taking my call. You sparked it, Al, when you said that. They don't seem to want to listen to reason, and our founding fathers had some big arguments among themselves, but Jefferson and Adams were probably the most famous. But then they became lifelong friends because they talked it out, and they realized they both wanted the same thing: a strong, viable America. But they had different ideas on how to get to it. This thing with Fauci, I don't understand it. I'm on 5 or 6 debate sites on Facebook, and so I asked. I said, Democrats, I genuinely want to know your thinking. Why do you give this guy a pass? He's white. He's rich. He helped make money for the big pharma. Look, they just shot that insurance guy, and they celebrated him for shooting that CEO of that insurance company. He represents all the things you claim to hate, yet you give him a pass and even defend him. And none of them will give me an answer. I don't know if they don't understand how to analyze their own thinking, so they can't, verbalize it, or if they just. I know they don't hate Trump. They hate Trump, but when they look at Trump, they see us, and they hate the right. So then it's born in arrogance. I understand arrogance never wants to question itself. Why should it question itself? And but that's part again of Fauci. He didn't think we had the mental wherewithal to handle the information, so he was going to hide the information and let the grown-ups, let the experts handle the information, and we just like sheep listen to them. And that's why they hid the effects that he had. So I don't understand how can you, when you you're dealing with students that are on the cusp of becoming full-grown adults and citizens,
Mm-hmm.
Do you run into that in your classroom? I know you have a segmented student because most of them that go there are Christians, but how do you change kids' minds? Do you find some that you can't change or that are impervious to argument?
I want to say before I think that the whole vaccine thing, whether it's Fauci or anybody's just become the biggest political football. So no matter what facts come out, the left isn't going to admit that the other side is right because that's just going to say that they're admitting that MAGA was right. That's what it all comes down to, I think.
Well, you're right. You're making my point. Yes. Why would they value more sticking their finger in the eye of the other side than arriving at truth? We are now completely vulnerable. Look, the Chinese were working with Fauci because they wanted a weapon. They weren't working for cures. I know Fauci said they do gain of function to try to get better cures. The Chinese wanted a weapon. And, they didn't give him any of their the information they've gleaned. And I think they're still working on weapons. So when the next biohazard comes up, we have no government that we'll trust. So, it's going to run rampant. There won't be a unified front to save the American people. So why do they value that, Stephen? More of a football than of truth.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. I know. I agree. So but if we do have another pandemic or whatever, we're going to be in trouble.
I don't think it's if. I think it's when.
Yeah, I could see it.
All right. Well,
thanks.
Thank you for the call. We need to take a break. We'll come right back. Oh, it's not working.
It's working, but barely.
Yeah, can't really hear it. Hang on. We'll let it play for a little bit. See.
So it didn't cut your mic off. We're still on.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, let's take another call then. All right. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah. No, Fauci he didn't develop a heart condition from the vaccine. He developed a blood clot. And it went to his lungs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I tell you, there was some evil stuff went on during that COVID. And, I'll be mad about it till the day I die. But there was some evil stuff came out when they finally realized what was harming a lot of people after the vaccine was blood clots. One of my wife's clinics she worked at, one of her doctors at her clinic, he took the shot day after he got a blood clot in his finger. Another guy knows. Hell, he was a true believer. He took 4 shots. After his 4th shots, he threw clots all in his lungs and everything. He spent 2 months in the hospital. He had 2 weeks on dialysis. But anyway, as soon as that came out about the blood clots, the U.S. Preventative Task Force, are you familiar with them?
No. What is it? The U.S. what?
U.S. Preventative Task Force.
Okay.
It's a committee made up, I think, 16 doctors or something, and they look at all evidence and they make recommendations. They make recommendations about like how old women should be before they start taking mammograms and when they should start doing pap smears and all sorts of things like that. Well, within a week after that news came out about blood clots, they came out with a directive discouraging people from taking low-dose aspirin. A lot of people are taking low-dose aspirin to prevent heart attacks and strokes, including yours truly. But they came out with a directive discouraging people from taking low-dose aspirin for blood clot prevention. Like I'd say, it wasn't effective and it was too dangerous and could cause you a brain bleed. And I'm telling you, some evil stuff went on during COVID. It was like,
okay.
But I know a couple at our church. Their son-in-law he was 35 at the time. He was in the Army. He couldn't refuse the vaccine. He had to take it, and he developed a heart condition. And I met him about a year later, and he said he was doing okay, but he was on 4 different heart medicines. I know another guy. He was in 10 years. He served in Afghanistan and Iraq. He was a trigger puller. I mean, he was in combat, and he refused to take it. So they just kicked him out like so much trash, Well, they didn't even tell him thanks for your service. Just threw him out.
I can identify. I can definitely identify.
It was,
All right.
it was really some evil stuff went on with that COVID.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the call, by the way. Another guy, we were talking about Aaron Rodgers. That's what kind of got this whole thing started. You remember Kyrie Irving? He's an NBA player. He took a similar stance, and the NBA media crushed him, including Stephen A. Smith. Well, here is Stephen A. the other day.
There were others who had the courage to say, bump that. And one of those people at the forefront was Kyrie Irving. I bring his name up because I had my issues with him from a leadership standpoint, never as a player, because he's sensational. But with him, in terms of leadership, and I didn't look at it as being courageous. I looked at it as being selfish. And I watched Dr. Fauci on Capitol Hill yesterday. And the person I thought about most was Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving stood out in my mind because of the heat that he was taking. And now folks were piling on because that was just the latest transgression in their eyes that he was committing and subjecting the public to. He refused the vaccine. New York City's mandate made him ineligible for home games. And he linked his stance to people losing jobs over vaccine mandates. In my opinion, particularly hindsight-wise, it didn't make him stubborn or selfish. It made him brave for his willingness to stand up and say, nah, I'm not doing that.
All right. Well, there you go.
Meanwhile, I'm on X, and one of the first things that pops up from a local news station, the Virginia Department of Health announced they are investigating a confirmed case of dengue that occurred in a resident in Northern Virginia, the first ever documented case of locally acquired dengue in the Commonwealth.
Panic.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could probably agree that we're never all going to agree on this topic.
That's probably true.
But maybe some people will change their mind, like Stephen A. You never know if that's what he did.
Another call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
So Dave asked the question why Dr. Fallacy gets a pass from the Democrats. Because he's white, rich, old, educated, powerful. He has one thing that counterbalances all that. He works for the government. See, the Democrats want the government to be the strongest thing on this earth. They want the government to be their God. They want government to be their nanny. They want government to take care of it all. So when somebody works for the government, regardless of anything else, that's their man. That's who they follow. That's why Kamala Harris can be a total idiot and fail her way up to the vice presidency, and nobody holds her accountable because she works for the government. That's how we can have a demented president and nobody hold him accountable because he works for the government. Although he's done the very things they accuse Trump of doing, but he's on the side of the government. So it doesn't matter all the other characteristics they throw out the window. If you work for the government, the Democrats are on your side.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, you know, everybody talks about how Dr. Fallacy changed and how.
Remember when eating corn right off the cob was one of your favorite summertime treats? Or how about taking a big bite out of a crisp, fresh apple? If it's been a while since you enjoyed these delightful activities, chances are your teeth are no longer up for the task. But now there's great news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville are Cenla's dental implant experts. They're both highly trained and experienced in the procedure. Now,
Oh,
there we go.
There we go. Brad, are you still there?
I am.
Okay. You were.
So.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
What was I talking about?
It was
fallacy.
One last thing about fallacy you were saying.
Oh, yeah. All of us, some of us are old enough to remember the AIDS scare. And he was the driving force behind that.
Yes.
He even went so far as to say in one interview, and, you know, fact check me, please, but that close proximity could transmit AIDS, that not intimate sexual contact or fluted or whatever it's called, needles, dirty needles, but close proximity to those that have AIDS could cause transmission. That's why he isolated them in wards where their family couldn't go see them. It was the same playbook. So, Dr. Fallacy, you know, we could talk about the vaccine or the mask or whatever, but it's the same playbook that he used in the 1980s with AIDS. And so he should have been held accountable then, not wait till now.
I agree with you. So.
By the way, I can ensure that nobody ever gets diagnosed with COVID ever again.
How would you guarantee that?
Don't get tested. I've never been diagnosed with COVID because I never took the test.
Well,
I mean, and somehow I survived. You remember those lines at the Coliseum? Those sheep that were lining up at the Coliseum to have a 2-foot cotton swab stuck inside their head. Remember that?
Yeah. And the guy that invented the PCR test, there was an article the New York Times did where he said they're using it wrong, and he estimated it was somewhere around 99% of the positive test results were probably false. It was a staggering number. So, because remember on TV, you kept putting like on the screen the number of people testing positive. And look, we know that there were some people that got sick and ultimately lost their lives during this time period. Most of the time, they were people with some kind of other comorbidities. And it was also a time where there were no flu deaths. So usually every year you got a lot of people that die from the flu. So I don't know.
The interesting statistic about death, 10 out of 10 people will die.
Will die. It's true.
So, the rest, assigning a cause of death does not keep people alive. And people act like, oh, well, we've got this evil thing on earth called COVID. And if we can just identify it and isolate it, everybody will live. That's what that's really what they were promoting. You want to live?
Yeah.
Go isolate yourself, get this vaccine, wear a mask, wash your hands, stand 6 feet away from everybody else. Well, if you did that, you wouldn't catch anything. It has nothing to do with COVID. Stay at home and wear a mask all day. You probably will not catch any upper respiratory disease.
All right. Well, thank you for the call this morning. Always appreciate it. See what you started now.
Oh, was it me? Shoot.
Yes, I blame you.
Well, let him keep calling and fill that time.
Hey, your guy, Abdul El-Sayed from Michigan, the Senate candidate.
My guy? He ain't getting my vote.
There's a story I'm looking at on X here. It says, El-Sayed says OnlyFans videos keep showing up in his Instagram feed, and he blames the algorithm.
Uh-oh. What's he been doing?
Critics firing back. Instagram's For You recommendations are shaped by what people watch, like, and linger on. Other social media users started posting screenshots of their feeds to make the point, showing cooking videos, watches, and workouts instead.
Oh, he's been lingering too much, it looks like.
But people still voted for this guy.
Looks like he's going to win, I guess.
It's been a while since you enjoyed these delightful activities. Chances are...
Don't move to Michigan. Got it.
But you know what's concerning is, let's just say he does win and becomes a fully vested U.S. Senator. A lot of concerning things there.
Could happen. Could happen. You have a Democrat socialist.
Yeah.
That is the mayor of our largest city in America.
Yeah. Yep. All right, tell us what's coming up at 8:05 for our guest.
We have Kelsey Offer from Camp Lighthouse coming in to talk about some of the programs that they've been doing over the past couple of months. And they'd be some of the resources available for special needs children in our community. So we'll talk about that.
All right. Okay, so normally this is the point where we're hearing the music playing in the background, but we're not hearing it. So we've got...
I'm going to just tell her to come up and...
We've got 40 seconds until the top of the hour. No, now the news did play at 7, so hopefully it'll play here at 8. But we're figuring it out.
Nathan said America in the Morning is streaming.
Oh, okay. Well, some of you are hearing us. I guess our Facebook Live feed is working, though, right?
Looks to be.
Hopefully. Okay.
We'll see what happens, and if it doesn't go to the top of the hour, we'll just bring her in.
Okay.
Yeah.
A progressive declares victory in Michigan. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Abdul El-Sayed, who's backed by socialists, posted on X this morning that he won the Democratic Senate primary, though votes are still being counted as he leads Congresswoman Haley Stevens by about 1%.
We have a responsibility to assure that we unite to make sure that Mike Rogers never sees the inside of the U.S. Senate.
Mike Rogers is the Republican hoping to flip that Michigan Senate seat, now held by a retiring Democrat. And Rogers tells Fox.
The DSA candidates in the state in 2 different congressional races look like they're pulling it off as well. The Democrat Party is lost to this hardcore socialist attitude.
The two candidates he's referring to are Donovan McKinney and William Lawrence. McKinney, supported by socialists, leads a House race in Michigan ahead of Congresswoman Sri Thanedar, who is backed by the House's Democratic leader. Lawrence is a progressive who won another congressional Democratic primary. In Missouri, though, progressive Cori Bush lost her comeback attempt trying to win a House seat back, losing by more than 20 points to Congressman Wesley Bell. Republicans need to find a new candidate in another state.
Congressman Chuck Edwards, the Republican representative from North Carolina's 11th congressional district, is ending his campaign for a new term. Edwards' decision comes after a House ethics panel found substantial evidence, in their words, the congressman harassed female staffers.
That's Fox's Evan Brown. President Trump's optimistic they could work out a deal as soon as today with Iran on reopening the Strait of Hormuz full into oil and other shipping, as he also pushes to get Iran to denuclearize.
Well, if they back out again, they're going to get hit really hard. You know, they know that. They understand that.
He told Fox that while at the Trump Golf Club near Los Angeles for a fundraiser. 2 days after man was arrested acting suspiciously at that golf course, found with gun and ammo. It follows 3 assassination attempts the past 2 years. The president tells Fox.
Well, the only thing I get a little solace from is they say only consequential presidents. And I am definitely consequential.
America's listening to Fox News.
Larry Elder here. When it comes to supplements, 2 things matter most. Does it work? And can you trust it? Rather than just tell you about Relief Factor, we'll let our customers do it. We hear from people every single day whose lives have changed, and we'd like you to hear a few of their stories. Chris has spent years doing physical work, leaving his feet sore at the end of the day. After starting Relief Factor, he felt so good, he did something he'd never done before. He ran a half marathon. Now he tells all his friends about Relief Factor. I've got back issues. I've been taking Relief Factor every single morning for years. Without it, the back problems come back. They make it easy to find if you'll be the next person telling us Relief Factor gave you your life back. 3 weeks for just $17.76. Simply go to ReliefFactor.com, that's ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF. You'll connect with our friendly local team, and they'll do everything they can to help. We hope you'll be soon sharing your story with us, too. ReliefFactor.com, 800-4RELIEF.
Russia is calling it an act of terror, a car bombing that hit the director of a factory that makes drones for Russia's war on Ukraine. He's hospitalized in grave condition after Russia launched more drones and bombs into Ukraine, killing at least 17 civilians.
These drone and missile attacks have been a defining factor of the war this summer. This assault targeted the capital Kyiv and the region around it. Warehouses and vehicles burned. A Ukrainian government spokesman accusing Russia of indiscriminate attacks on food storage, retail, and logistics hubs. Kyiv has a limited stockpile of missiles for the US-made Patriot Interceptor, their only defense system capable of bringing down ballistic missiles. Ukraine has also attacked Russian retail logistics, striking warehouses belonging to Wildberries, seen as Russia's version of Amazon. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
3 wildfires keep burning around Spokane, Washington. One was set. The suspect charged with arson, Aaron Farinacci, made his first court appearance.
Court documents saying that Farinacci knowingly and maliciously caused the Old Trails fire. That's where we're standing outside of in this neighborhood. Hundreds of homes just gone.
Fox Weather's Craig Herrera in Spokane. One of the deadly destructive wildfires that hit the LA area hard last year was also set. Suspect still jailed awaiting retrial after a mistrial declared in June. One of the other fires that scorched LA is blamed on a utility company.
It was arcing from a transmission tower owned by Southern California Edison that sparked the deadly Eaton fire in January of last year. The Los Angeles Fire Department says it reached that conclusion after 18 months of investigation that included electrical and metallurgical experts. Whipped by Santa Ana winds, the fire scorched 22 square miles, destroying thousands of structures and leaving 19 people dead. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are rising, so the Dow could add to yesterday's record high. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm John Burns. It's take 2 on candidate qualifying for U.S. House races in Louisiana. Here's Andrew.
You can if you want.
All right, we are back. Thank you for being with us here this morning on Talkback. Al Quartermont, Stephen Maxwell. Thank you for bearing with us through some of the technical issues that we've been having this morning, and hopefully we'll get things fixed as soon as possible for you. But we press on because that's what we do with live radio. And Stephen, I'm going to let you introduce our guest here this morning.
Yeah, we got Kelsey Offer from Camp Lighthouse, an important resource you guys just had about a week or 2 ago at Calvary Baptist. Tell us about Camp Lighthouse and all the things y'all are doing.
So Camp Lighthouse came about because there was a need in the community for safe spaces for children with disabilities or high needs to be able to come and enjoy a week of camp, like typically developing children. I myself, being a parent of an autistic child, it is very difficult to find a place where you're comfortable leaving your child to go and experience these things. So how we wanted to make a difference, or, it was unacceptable for myself and my friend Alex and Mandy, who were like, we have to make this possible, is that we got together and said, we need to do something. We need to make room for something. So we came up with Camp Lighthouse. And it is, like I said, a place where a neurotypical child can pair and be with a neurodivergent child for a week so that they can merge experiences, and the typical developing child can learn that it's okay to be different and you don't have to be like push away from different, right? So we all have differences in general, but let's like lean in and spend time with those people. So that's what we do. It's a week-long camp. It's all volunteer-based. All of the people that come are led by Cabrini Pediatric Therapy Center therapists. So every person that oversees the counselors and the campers is a board-certified physical therapist, speech therapist, occupational therapist, or registered nurse. So those parents can know that they're in the best hands while they're there. They know how to handle and take care of those type of high-needs children.
But for y'all, it's a big deal, too, as a parent of an autistic child, having a place for your child to go, because a lot of the times if there's events or camps or whatever, you just don't feel comfortable bringing them, or they may not be able to be taken care of.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is all of these children, they respond to different scenarios and situations differently, whereas like a place like the Jump place would never really work very well for Tilly, because there's so much stimulation going on and there's kids everywhere and there's so much to do and it's loud noises. So that's not a great fit for her, which may also be the same thing for many other children, where it's just not always a great fit, or you may have to, pull back or not attend a certain birthday party because it can kind of be the same scenario. So we have learned to not put her in those positions. And as a result, you do miss out on a lot of experiences. And so that's another reason why we feel this camp was so necessary.
And this was the first year.
It was the first year. It was our launch year, and it could not have gone any better. We were so thrilled with how it went. We only had about 3 months to get it out there so that people knew it was around. And so for having only 3 months to like bust it and get the word out, it was more of a challenge than we thought, but we were able to make it happen, and we really anticipate it to be a lot bigger next year.
I dropped by and it looked like y'all been planning it for 3 years. So
and thank you for that too. You helped us get the word out for sure, because I mean we needed to get it out there. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, I mean, but tell us about the different things you guys were offering and what the experience was like for you and people who may not have been around a child that has different needs.
So there's 4 stations or rotations that you could say that happen throughout the day. Again, all led by a therapist. And then there's adult volunteers that kind of oversee each of those stations. And each camper has their own counselor, which is like a teenager that kind of goes through and spends the entire day with them and oversees them, and then their friend that is the neurotypical child. So they go through 4 different stations that encourage like different sensory experiences, arts, dance, moving, exploring. So what we tried to do every day, or the goal was to have a different like community experience type of thing. So like one day we did an emergency response day and had the fire trucks, the SWAT trucks, state troopers were there, and they got to go and look on the trucks and see all the things, and they absolutely loved it. And then we had like lemonade one day for them to come out and do. So we really just want to expose them to as much fun stuff as possible while they're there. And I think the takeaway for most people was that this was just incredible. It's an incredible experience. And most of the people that come are like, I want to do it again next year. They either learn something new that they didn't before, or it just really like warmed them up to just that experience in general.
Yeah. And I mean, that's such a big resource for parents and children who are going through this. I mean, that's really God's work, because, you know, you feel alone, you feel like you don't have help, or you feel like there's nothing for your child. So that's something you guys are providing, and I think we really appreciate that.
I mean, and it takes community. So it's like they say a village, but even then, like, the village is smaller.
Yeah.
Because if it's not your daily walk of life, you really don't understand what it puts, like the pressure, the just fatigue, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, that it takes on these caregivers, because you do worry, you know, say worst case scenario, what if something happens to me? What is going to happen to my child?
Yeah.
You know, anywhere ranging from a child that can speak to a child that's nonverbal. I mean, that's like, you know, your biggest fear when you go to bed every night. But not only that, it's the small community of, again, the people that truly understand what it's like. And it can be isolating, because you could go somewhere and you know, somebody might be like, well, why can't you, just get a babysitter or do this or that? And it's just like, you don't understand that's not possible. So, and again, you want to be able to leave them in the care of somebody that understands them. So on the other side of that, respite for those caregivers is just as important, which is also what this camp provides.
And not only a week-long camp, but you guys kind of want to venture out and do a little bit more. Tell us about some ideas you have and how the community can get involved.
Well, throughout the year, like maybe say once a quarter, we would like to have just different activities, whether it's a respite night for the parents or the caregivers to go, you know, on a date or this or that, or even played around with like different holiday themes, like mini camp, something fun like that, or like a sneaker ball, which is just kind of a, you know, 1 to 2 year plan here, but like say a 5-year plan looks a lot bigger than that. We would love to be able to offer multiple camps during the summer, spreading those up into the different age groups, because we want to be able to reach all of those. We had a lot of interest in, you know, my child is this, and this, but they didn't meet the age requirement for the 5 to 12-year-olds that we did this year. So wanting to do like a 13 to 18 or 13 to 21, you know, and maybe even bringing it into like an adult style experience.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm just fascinated listening to this, because especially when you said 3 months to get it up and running. What was kind of the genesis of it? Where did the idea come from?
So, and there's a lot of people for me. There was a similar camp here in the community, and it was established for many, many years. It was well known. It was like a staple for special needs families. That opportunity no longer existed. I know that I had let my child participate in it, and it was, again, being on the parent side of it at that point only was incredible, because I was like, oh my gosh, you can go somewhere, I can leave, I can breathe, because I know she won't be judged on behavior, or they'll know how to help her. So when that opportunity went away, again, I was like, this is not acceptable. What can we do? We have to do something. So again, went to my friend Alex. She was one of the speech pathologists that helped put on and oversee the previous camp. And she was like, absolutely, let's do it. So from there, you know, brought in Mandy. She's another part of the brain of this operation, because they've had the experience in the past of knowing how to do it. And honestly, if I wouldn't have had them two, I don't think we would have made it work, because so much goes into it. And so them having the experience of getting it done is literally what made it possible, because I'm wanting to be, you know, pulling this together, putting our own new spin on it. It's a different name altogether. So whereas the previous one was well known and had a very memorable name, we had to start from square one. You know, our name is different. Our concepts, we're kind of putting our own spin on the concept, but then like it's been a couple of years, we needed people to know about it. And so having 3 months, we did the best we could. So like I said, moving forward to next year, we're hoping that everyone has heard and we'll be able to, you know,
word will spread. How many students did you have this year?
So this year we had an amazing number actually apply, but another premise of the camp is for it to be safe and for each child to be accommodated correctly. So we actually had to turn more away than we wanted to, which hopefully the goal next year is that nobody gets turned away. But we had 40 campers this year. Wow. And so we were able to accommodate that much volunteers to oversee them. Because again, the importance is it's a one-on-one, and that has to be safe. Camper safety, comfortableness is the highest priority. So
I'm guessing the goal for this year is you need people to volunteer that want to get involved.
Yes, and that's the thing too. So there was a repetitive list of people that were able to volunteer in the past, but some of those may have gone off to college now or moved away or doing something else. And so it wasn't as fresh. We're like, yes, put me on the schedule again for next year. But also it was kind of a late announcement too, whereas a lot of people may have already had summer plans. So it takes the amount of volunteers to accommodate the amount of campers. So it's like you can't put 3 campers on one person. That's not that's not the point. We can't do that.
How old is your daughter?
Tilly is 8.
Wow.
Yep.
What's that whole experience been like for you having an autistic child?
Oh man, it's been interesting. It changes the way, like your whole life, but also the way that you want to be a parent or that you just see the world in general. And you go through stages of grief essentially, but not in like the worst way. So it's like you get your diagnosis and at first you grieve the fact that your child is having difficulties. And then the traditional American dream looks different now. Like the way you thought your parenting journey was going to go now looks very different. And then the lack of resources. And talking with him in like the interviews in the past too, or kind of leading up to them, it's like you get your diagnosis and then it's like, here you go. And you're kind of left with like, okay, well, what do I do now? There's not so much like, here's the next steps, da-da-da-da-da. But in general, we've been very blessed with friends and like our village and our family that are very accepting, understanding, patient with Tilly. So it's been awesome to see that. They know that Tilly's brain, works a little differently. Now, as we get older and they start to understand that Tilly's brain works a little differently than them, it may be more noticeable at that point. But it's you have to advocate. If you don't advocate, then who's going to do it? It goes to like you become stronger as a parent. You get thicker skin. I know there were moments when in the last couple of years where I would get upset if she was acting a certain way in a store because me being on the other side of that and kind of being ignorant to it in the past, I've been like, gosh, that child behaves terribly, and you kind of shamefully look at the parent. Whereas now I'm on the opposite side and they don't understand that like she's just overstimulated. She's having a hard time, and you still do get those looks. But I used to feel like I had to explain that Tilly had autism. And now I'm like, I don't care. I'm more worried about my kid. You know what I mean? Like you're going to think what you want. I've been there. But that's another thing too, is people don't know to give grace to understand that child might be going through something. So it's stuff like that. And then like missing out on birthday parties or, even on vacations, making sure that there are activities that we can do that aren't too much for her. So kind of everything does change, but it doesn't mean that it's all bad. And being on the side of parenting in the world of receiving special needs love is incredible. They're all incredible. They're all amazing. And it's funny because they say if you've met one kid with autism, you've met one kid with autism. They're all so different, just like everyone, but their quirks are so funny. They make them exceptional. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Is your daughter verbal, nonverbal?
She is. She is. She's very verbal. Most people that know Tilly know she's the boss. So she is. We're blessed. And that's the thing too. So another thing, I know I keep circling back to the camp, but there are children that are nonverbal. The way they communicate is through an assistive communication device. So you can't leave your kid that can't communicate with just anyone. The therapists that are there, they do this every day. I think the people that we had there this year have combined, or even just myself and our leadership team had combined over 65 years of clinical therapeutic experience.
Wow.
I mean, and that just speaks to the passion that these people have. I mean, you have to have that because this is extremely difficult line of work. Like I've been been a physical therapist and assistant since 2011. And I've worked in pretty much every setting of therapy that you can. Pediatrics is by far, in my opinion, the most challenging because it's so difficult. These kids, you have to understand them. You have to show up every day despite, like, it's hard. It's so hard. And so the people that are there are super passionate about this. And that's everything. That's what makes it possible, So I can talk about this for hours.
And we haven't really talked about it on the show very much, but our child has autism. And so knowing that this resource is out there,
Yep.
it's a big blessing, and we're excited to hopefully be a part of it.
I
for
love it.
sure.
And that's the
So,
point. And that's like this, you know, me and my big binder here. So that was another
And
thing.
Kelsey's
of it.
done so much for us already. Like, we got this binder. She answers all my questions. So it's amazing work that they do for us.
And I'm glad to do it because, again, my niece also has autism. So if it wouldn't have been for my sister and from the get-go being able to tell me this stuff, I would not have known what to do. She was like, you need to do this. Now that you have this, you need to do this and this. And so there's so many people that I'm like, do you know about this or have you heard about that? And I'm like, no, tell me more, please. So one thing that I wanted to do is at the end of the week for this camp was to give all of the special needs parents a resource binder so they have somewhere to go and know what to do. And so this binder is full of resources to help people. And I just want it to be a blessing to others because, again, like what type of ABA services, what type of therapeutic services. There is a pediatric dentist in town practice that specializes in children with special needs. Like, I had no idea before I put this binder that they were here. And this is exactly why, like, I wanted to put this together so that people know what's out there. You know, first things first, like early intervention is everything. So the kids that you can get into early intervention and get them started, they're going to have a way better, I don't want to say success because everything, you know, it's a fluid thing. Every child is different, but opportunity to thrive the earlier you get them in therapeutic interventions.
I mean, just something as small, like you said, a dentist, one that would accept that situation because you're afraid to even just go or birthday party places. Like, we don't go to certain birthday venues, you know, because.
Yep. And that's the thing too. It's like another part of like how your life changes. And when you get a diagnosis or you have a child with special needs is in the beginning, you're almost scared not to admit the fact that something's going on, but it's like, oh, well, what are people going to think now that I have a special needs child? And you may steer away from being like an advocate or open about it. But I think it's beautiful to lean into that and advocate for that child because, you know, I think part of it is just the panic, the initial panic, part of the, you know, the reality of the diagnosis. But I think the more that we talk about it, the more that we're confident about our children and who they are, you know, that's going to help them. You know, we shouldn't be afraid to say my child has autism, but every parent's path is different. The journey is different. When you can, you know, wrap your brain around it and your emotions around it and be like, okay, this is now our life. We're going to strap our boots on and we're going to do it this way. And then you do. Because like, again, if it hadn't have been for my sister, I don't know what, I wouldn't have known where to start.
Sure.
And so, and the more that you advocate for your children, other people will see that and they'll be like, either I want to do that too, or what do I need to do? You know, help me. And so to be a resource for others is what, you know, I want to do. You know, how can I help others know them as much as possible? How can we spread awareness or just like for people to just know, you know, that there are people that are different. I know specifically when I was in elementary school, our special needs department was kept completely separated from us.
Yeah.
And so when we did see them, say if they had to walk down or walk into the cafeteria when we were at lunch, everyone was like, oh my gosh, there's, you know, the special needs department, yada, yada. And so it was like this whole thing because they isolated them from everyone else. And it should be the opposite. Like, how are we ever going to grow as a society or love others around us if they are kept away from us and we have to then assume the things about them versus they're just like us. They just function differently. And that's another part of the camp. So you have the high needs child with the typical needs child so that they learn that early on. And a lot of the parents will come back and be like, my kid had so much fun. That was so awesome for them. And it is. I mean, and all in all, at the end of the day, it's all about these kids to be able to experience different things and feel love and acceptance in a safe place.
We're talking with Kelsey Alford. She's with Camp Lighthouse, which is it part of Calvary or just Calvary hosted it?
So Calvary they said, yes, come in from the beginning. They helped us host it and they helped us all the way through. They were a wonderful partner from point A to point B and helped in any way. They said, we'll help you in any way that we can. So yes, they kind of welcomed us in and I'm so thankful for them.
Yeah.
And Cabrini Hospital is the one. So all of the people that come, or all the therapists, like they shut down their pediatric clinic on Monday so that all of them can be there. And so Cabrini is that passionate about it too. And it's all Cabrini-led therapists. So that says a lot about them as well. You know, their fight in it and their need and want to be a part of it.
Did you have other sponsors that helped?
Yeah. So, and two, like we were able to round up a few sponsors and have them come in and help. So, like Southern Heritage Bank, we had the Catano Group, there's so many, Beta, Crest, BK, Cabrini, of course, Red River Glass, the Lions Club, Alexandria Branch. They came and fed us so many pizzas and cookies, like all of them. And there were so many. There's a picture on our Facebook page, and you can just see it's a pallet stacked so high full of pizzas. But all of them, every single one of them, especially for our first year, they leaned in and they supported us. So we are so thankful for them, and just hoping to grow. And the feedback too, even with the first responders or all the vendors that came throughout the week, were like, absolutely. You know, kind of told them the premise of what it was about. They said, we're in. Like, especially like even the state troopers and the sheriff's department, they said, oh, yes, you know, immediately we will come and we will swim with you guys. So again, that's like how the sponsors were, how all the vendors that came were, they were just like, yes, and mark us down for next year.
That's how they are around here.
And that's what I love about this community. It's such a giving community here. It really is. So that's why I feel like if we can let more people know about it, imagine how much more, supportive even this community would feel, the special needs community.
I got a couple organizations that'll probably jump on board next year.
I love it so much. Again, I could talk about this for hours. Sorry.
Well, no, you're doing good.
It's raised a lot of questions, even in my mind. I'm very thankful. We have 7 children that are pretty much all adults now, and not having had to go through that, thankful. But like on a daily basis, like for your daughter, when you're at work, are there certain special places you have to take her?
So she goes to elementary school. So she's in school, and the school that she goes to has a special needs program, and it's been phenomenal. We've been very happy with how they have worked with her. Her teacher, she's had her for the last couple of years, phenomenal. Again, Tilly's very verbal, so she's very bossy, and her teacher has been able to keep her on track. But also, as I go back to the early intervention thing, she has been in therapy of some type since she was 3. So in coordination with that, with her ABA services and their special needs department, all of these things help her to thrive. They all come together. They all are connected. And then with, obviously, my husband and I, just no is not an answer. You know, we have, while her brain may work differently and society says that she has limits on her abilities and what she can do, we don't accept that. That is not an option. So she has broken through every barrier that she's ever had, against her or whatever. She's phenomenal. They're all phenomenal. You just have to give them room to grow and succeed and give them the interventions to help them do so. So we're blessed enough that Tilly is able to go and thrive at school. And, there are, so they all of them have, again, their quirks. Tilly's things that we continue to work on is her social interactions. She has zero safety awareness. That makes things difficult.
Yeah.
So that super impulsive, lack of safety awareness thing. She has a little brother. She has no concept of personal space or body awareness. So she'll just run and just throw her whole 60-pound self on top of her 3-year-old brother, so things like that. But, she's so great and she's so funny. But she's wonderful. And again, we can't think, like, that's part of our village, her therapeutic interventions, her school, her teachers, they're all great.
Well, and if this gets too personal, stop me. But once you have an autistic child, does it concern you to have another child after that?
Yeah, well, autism is genetic. It's like genetic things that kind of create the autism. And so yeah, you do have to kind of sit back, think, okay, like what's going on? Or, I know many people that have multiple autistic children, and then many people that only have one autistic child. So essentially what it is it's a neurodevelopment condition. So when people's brains form, they have like all these synapses go, and you can think of it as like highways. Okay. So a typically developing brain has a very functional, smooth flowing highway. Okay. So a brain that has the development of autism has multiple different highways. And so one highway may be bogged down with traffic, like less efficient, whereas this highway over here may be overly sufficient, overly efficient, and like, so their paths are just different. So whereas a typical developing brain kind of gets all of their stuff to work cohesively the way it's supposed to, those neurodivergent brains develop with inconsistent, I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but productivity or performance, whatever. And so I think that's why too. So funny story. So if say Tilly, she has a wonderfully picture memory, photo memory. Okay, and this is how a lot of them are, which is what makes them so fascinating. So we're sitting in this room and you have a bottle of hand sanitizer over there. Okay, she could be in this room for like 30 seconds, notice everything, and come back 7 years later. If you put that over there, she's going to say, that's supposed to go over there.
Wow.
You move that, it needs to go back over there.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of, that's an overly efficient part of one of her highways in her brain.
Because you hear people, like if somebody is really smart or has that photographic memory in a certain area, they'll be like, oh, he's like a Rain Man.
Yeah,
you know?
they're brilliant. They
Yeah.
are. And that's part of where that highway is just wide open. You know, and so then like you say you'll get somebody that's, you know, nonverbal. That's the highway that kind of came over here, and it doesn't work as not efficiently. I don't want to say that, but that's just an example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I mean, it's fascinating, and it's something that you can look into and learn about and be fascinated by for a long time.
I'm curious, as we've had so much national discussion about this and the rise of incidents of autism, as a parent of an autistic child, how do you view all of that discussion and what people say might be leading to it?
Well, everything like that's always controversial, right? It's all based on someone's opinion or that. There are studies that have data with them considering these different things. But at the end of the day, autism it's a neurological condition. Now, they're also based, I don't want to say severity, or some of the symptoms or conditions of this are external factors. Environmental factors, things like that. Even just with changing how Tilly eats can affect her cognition, her mood, things like that. So without going into too much of my personal opinion, because they can be very controversial.
Oh, they love
That's
it
good
on
on
this
this
show.
show.
Yeah, they live for that.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's definitely worth continuing to be talked about. In my
Because like RFK, when he was made health secretary, he's been very outspoken about this. And something that stuck with me that he said at one point is that our kids shouldn't have to live like this. Like you can tell, like it's a burden for him.
Yep.
That why is this happening so much more now than it used to? Because when I was a kid, I don't think I knew anybody that was autistic.
Exactly. Which, and some people argue and say, well, the spectrum of autism is widened so much, whereas before it had to be like this much of a factor, you're autistic. And now they're like, oh, well, now you can be with over here and in between here, and they can categorize you as autistic. But, you know, also data that has come out in recent years is that now it's 1 in 31 children.
That's just insane.
Where it used to be 1 in thousands of children. So why is that?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not, I mean, it could be, if it's genetic, it could be, you know, what's up with the millennials of the world, you know what I mean? If that's part of it, what were our environmental factors, or is it something else? You know, and in the meantime, other things have changed in medicine and requirements. So that could be an external factor.
Do you give any credence? And again, if I'm asking this out of turn, tell me, but do you give any credence to the vaccine factor that some people persist in all of this?
I mean, there's data there, and it's hard to fight data. And so I would say that. Now, I'm not going to say that that alone might be the thing to do it, because it's not a disease, right? It's a neurological condition, so it's not something that like is a disease or an illness or things like that. But again, I do, because I've seen changes in just changing some of the external factors of the environment around my child, how that does affect cognition, behavior, things of that. So I do think that there are environmental factors that do take a play in them. But that's my personal experience.
Sure.
I am not Dr. Oz or, RFK, but as a parent, because too, even then, like we have a physician specific order for her food, even try to stay away, from gluten. Everybody's talking about the folic acid stuff, which there's something for us to it, because we notice a huge difference when she doesn't do it. So a lot of children also, which 30 to 60% of the population has, I don't know if you've heard of this MTHFR gene mutation.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really pretty common. But for most autistic people, it's a prevalence within them. And so what it does is, like we were talking about the highway systems earlier, with their MTHFR deficiency or mutation, it limits the amount of toxins that their body can get rid of. Whereas people that either don't have it or have like the lower range of the mutation, we're able to dispel a lot of the toxins or just the waste that gets built up in our body. They don't. So that bogs them down. So for us, we've noticed that a change in like even just gluten or folic acid, which is that not
like in
the
every
authentic
bread
form.
product.
Exactly.
Almost. Yeah.
Exactly. So we noticed a change in her behavior with that. And so I'm going to personally say that, yes, I buy into that. I believe it, because I've seen it with my own eyes. My husband's seen it with my own eyes. Her teachers have seen it with their own eyes. So we have our pediatrician write her a specific order for what she can eat at lunch. And so I always tell everybody, give her what I put in her lunchbox. Don't give her anything else. She will protest, but make sure she has this. And even the teachers have come back and been like, huge difference. So
isn't that fascinating?
It is fascinating.
It's kind of infuriating at the same time that we know that what companies are allowed to put into food can impact people's health, even from a mental, psychological standpoint.
Absolutely. And so it's like, why is it necessary? If they're so easy, I feel like we're steering away from autism, but if it's so easy to get rid of it when the squeaky wheel is out there telling you, you know what I mean? Then why is it there in the first place? Yeah. Why? And again, like he says, it's like we have the sickest generation. Why is that?
Yeah.
What can we do to change? So I would say with the changes that they're making, if they stick, be interested to see what data is 5-10 years from now, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be interesting. Absolutely. Again, I could do this for hours.
Same.
This for so long.
If my wife were here, you guys would have a really deep conversation about all this, because
I'm here for it. Yeah.
My wife is, I always talk about her, she could be a doctor with the knowledge that she has accumulated through the years just through reading, and specifically took that interest to how it would impact our kids, So
absolutely.
I appreciate it. You have to, as a mother, be an advocate for your own child more than anybody.
Because if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
Right.
If you're not fighting for them, who's going to fight for them?
Right.
And that's not fair for them. If they can't fight for themselves and nobody else does it, what a disservice to that beautiful soul. You know what I mean? And that's like with Tilly, we've been so on top of it. And at times it's hard for me because I'm like, gosh, she's going to hate me, because I am so, and my husband too, we are so like, no, this is our expectation for you. We refuse to see autism as the reason to not push you to be a better person or to exceed any boundaries or barriers against you, and so we have to remind ourselves sometimes, like I do find myself like, give her a little bit more grace, but it's the more you educate and the more you advocate, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's great for your wife to continue to read and research and learn, because if I hadn't have done it, or if she's not doing it, I mean, who's going to do it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who's going to spread the awareness, spread, like information on what it is and how to help, and, so I think that's great.
Yeah.
Your wife sounds awesome.
She is. Yeah. Like I said, I think the two of you would hit it off.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. And I mean, again, like it's something that's, I know that it's worldwide. People know about autism, but it's like, why can't we dig a little deeper to understand why, not just what it is and that it is? How can we understand it more, and how can we help those that have it, at a different, like not just a surface level,
So I appreciate all that you are putting into things, especially with Camp Lighthouse. What more would you like to see in this community to help either families with autistic children or just autistic children in general?
Well, first and foremost, a parent support group.
Yeah.
And there may be some, I know that there's small groups, even Calvary offers small groups for moms. But again, and that's always wonderful. But again, if it's not your walk, you don't know. And there may be some already. So I don't want to assume that there's not. But small groups, parent support groups, more opportunities again for the respite nights so they can have date nights, or even some type of
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Or some type of group or understood like collection of babysitters, maybe qualified babysitters, trainings for babysitters, trainings for just care in general. So that's another thing too. So not only is there missed opportunities for camps, we can't just go put our child in some daycare. They may not accept our child due to difficulties or difficult behavior. They don't have the training, and that's nothing against them. It's just another one of those things that you're ignorant to if it's not your walk of life. And I don't mean that in an ugly way, but like you can't just do things. I do know there's like an ABLE League. It's like a baseball. I don't know if it's just like a tournament or if it's like a series of games that is for children with disabilities. So they have a sports opportunity. But I would like to see, like, which I know the what is Night to Shine was here with Calvary, but even something like that, even like a prom, or just something that we could offer more children more opportunities, or say like a fitness camp or any type of sports camp, just adaptive opportunities.
I think the parent support group is such a huge thing too, because in our very divided culture we have now, like we're not as big on a community as we used to be. That'd be a big resource for a lot of people, because if you feel alone, it gets tough.
It is. It's like I said, it's very isolating because you do have to withdraw your children from certain things, or even then, like say if you're with other people, say if you're with your friends, again, we've been blessed that our friends and their children are so good to Tilly. There might not be as much of a warm welcome in other circles of friendships. So then you feel like you can't even go hang with your friends because the behavioral challenges with your kids may interact with those kids, and it just causes this whole mess. It's almost more trouble than it's worth. And so it's like that's another way of just feeling isolated, and then just feeling like no one knows how difficult it is. Like any parent, being a parent to any child is hard. Right. And so I don't want to say like, oh, woe is us that have special needs, but it is so challenging, going to bed thinking, did I give her enough of the love that she needed today versus what I expected her to meet me with today? That one I struggle with sometimes. It's like meeting her where she is versus me kind of pushing her into the behavioral expectation that I have. But again, that comes from the motivation of us being like, no, we're not going to give you a pass just because of that. So I think a lot of people forget to meet them where they are, and that's hard. It's just the whole thing in general. Like they're in a world that isn't, I don't say made for them, but they have to fit into our boxes instead of us taking the time to kind of come into their box. Right. So yeah, circling back around, I would think support groups would be incredible. Even just like family fun days, and again, there may be some of these already. But even if it was like, Compton Park, Keys Park, or something like meet up or, and just play and have those kids interact. I do know that there's some places in town where they have sensory hours. It might be the Air Adventure U. They may have one day a week. I think that early mornings they have a sensory hour, and it allows you can bring them in, and it's more low sensory stuff like that. And I want to say, I know Jake's Place is a great place.
Oh yeah.
They are sensory friendly, and so that's definitely need to, like, people need to know about them. You can do birthday parties or field trips or whatever.
We're on strike too with AirU, so
really,
we're not a fan of.
Well, it's
I
a
love
lot.
AirU, but
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So just find, even if you can go out and educate people or go to different businesses and be like, hey, you know, you could probably be even bigger on business if you just made this minor tweak or you were able to do that. And as part of, you know, the community liaison director for this camp, I just want to take it a step further and it not just be camp. Like, I would love to just be a community advocate and go to these places, because not only do I want to continue building this resource finder and being able to talk to them, so help me add to it just in general. So I'm like, look, you have a underserved community that's pretty populated. If you did this, it would mean the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just all kinds of stuff, you know. There's so many opportunities, so much potential for so much.
I don't know if we ever had like a 45-minute interview nonstop. I mean, that's
sorry.
good. No,
with someone that's not a
good
politician
thing. Like,
anyway.
it's good. No, it's fantastic.
Like, I could do this for hours. We could do a whole mini series on this. I mean, my gosh, because there's so many things that you could cover and that I've wanted, you know, I didn't know what to expect coming in here, what we would really brush on. But again, I definitely geek out on this and just want everyone to know.
Maybe we were meant to have technical difficulties because we've had all this time and it's been fantastic. So,
hey, if you believe in God's providence,
that's right.
Don't we all? I mean, won't he do it? I mean, that's the thing. Like, and that's like, gosh, thinking back on that, there were so many potential barriers that could have stayed in place for this to happen. And it was like every step of the way, he just was like, boop, nope.
Open the door.
You're the vessel. Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go. And so, like, even each step, I was nervously optimistic, you know, that because the first step that happened after me and Alex had that talk, I was like, what are we going to do? She's like, I don't know, the facility that we were going to have it at no longer is able to host it. And so she knew, after being there so many years, like, she was like, well, this is the way it was, you know, rightfully so. And she's like, this was the system we created and it works. So to understand that we had to potentially change it up or go to a different venue, you know, she was like adamant about certain things, and I was like, I really think that Calvary Baptist Church would be perfect for this opportunity.
Wow. And they do so much.
They
for the
do.
community.
Oh, and that's, don't let me go without saying their special needs ministry is phenomenal. They have a special needs young adults ministry, children's ministry, special needs VBS, special needs Sunday school. So that's another thing. Parents can't, you know, feel like they can't attend church because they don't have anyone to put the care of their child into. Well, Calvary has, for both their services, special needs classrooms. And you can come and take them there. The people are incredible, and you can attend church. You know, there's, but that's what we want to do. And like, Calvary is so open to it because their passion and hearts for special needs is incredible. Like, it's incredible. So that's like from day one, they said, you have our full support. What do you just tell us what you need, because this is phenomenal. So that's just the response, again, of this community is just incredible. It's incredible.
Not to get off track here, but I've been to Calvary's. This is a first. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, I've been in Calvary's like sanctuary. Stop me there. And I've never been throughout it. That place is like its own city.
It's massive.
I had no idea.
I think they said it's either like 100 or 200,000 square feet, something like that. And let me tell you, where we were able to have the camp, I was so sore walking that expansive hallway. I was like so sore. I probably walked 6 miles a day. Because they could.
That's what I need. So.
They accommodate it so well. That's why I kept telling them, like, it has to be at Calvary. It has to be there. They have the space. They have the resources. They have the staff. And so when I went, Cindy Avery, she may die knowing that I'm on here talking about her, but she's the director of special needs over there. And so after me and Alex had that talk, I was like, man, I want to say something to Miss Cindy and just see what she thinks. So again, nervously optimistic, kind of put it out there for her. And she was like, I like that. You know, I'll take it to our leadership meeting next week and I'll let you know how it goes. And I was like, okay, well, awesome. And so then she came back from that meeting and she was like, we want more information. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding. Because I was like, you know, they have so many ministries. They're so giving. They do so much for the community. I was like, they probably don't have the capacity to kind of take this on right now. And they kind of got back with us immediately and they were like, let's go. I want to do that. And so there was just so many things. The fact that it was 3 months out, the fact that initially we didn't have the the space. So it was like boom, boom, boom. Within a matter of a couple of weeks, it was like, oh my gosh, now we got to open registration. Like this is happening, you know? And so it's just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And won't he do it? I'm telling you.
Wow. So you're already planning for next year?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I already have the list of vendors, the list of potential sponsors. I've already started compiling a list of volunteers, counselors, campers. A lot of them will be repeat because they just loved it so much. And now there's even
morning stations, Fox News Radio in New York. Dave Anthony, the anchor, coming up at the top of Progressive, backed by Socialists, maybe a step closer to the.
There we go. And we're back again. I forgot, what was I saying?
Getting volunteers and stuff for next year.
And so like even the day that, so the sad part was like once we closed registration, people were just then kind of coming around to find out. We had so many people reach out and we hated it because it was like our registration's already closed. But also at the Friday that we concluded camp, I had 3 emails. I want to do it next year. I've heard about this. Can my kid come? Can I sign them up? Or can I be a part of it some way? So knowing that already there's the people that are currently already a part of it, and then more people that are wanting to pour into it, and then me making it my mission for the next year to get people on board and to compile lists and resources. I mean, because like I said, I want to shout it from the rooftops because we want people to know and to come. So,
well, we're always here to help you get the word out and do anything we can to help.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably having to cut me off now.
No, we got 9 minutes.
Well,
Can you fill 9 more minutes?
Absolutely.
What's one of the biggest gaps that you would like to address from this year's camp for next year? Something you want to expand? Someone out there who might be listening who can maybe help you.
I mean, really, we need the volunteers. We need and not saying that they're not out there. We just need to raise the awareness of, we need the volunteers to make it able to not turn away a single child.
What's the goal? How many people do you think, or students or children, would be involved? Like the max amount? What are you looking for?
Ooh. We would like to see 100. Honestly, I would love to see 100. But again, like that's getting up to numbers that are pretty high because, and I want to say that the capacity of the previous situation was close to that number. It was a lot. It had been here for so long, and they may correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that was the number. It was way up there, and so that was kind of the projections we thought we might have this year. And again, we had close to that amount of campers, but unfortunately, we had to scale down. But for each camp,
the A's 5-4, scoring the tying and winning runs on wild pitches in the 8th inning. That's 6 straight L's for the A's. Shutouts.
Okay, we're back.
Okay. I forgot where I was. Oh, so for each camper, you have to have the counselor. So the counselor is like the teenager that is kind of walking the camper through the week. Mm-hmm. And so literally for each typical and additional needs camper, they each have a counselor. Okay. And then there's a volunteer over them. So, I mean, you have to have as many campers, you have to have at least as many counselors. And then you have to have volunteers on top of that. So, I mean, you're looking at
maybe like a 2-to-1 is what we're thinking.
No, I mean, for the campers, it's 1-on-1.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have like each camper has their counselor. So, and then the volunteers are broken. So like a counselor's like 13 to 18 years old. And then your volunteer is like anywhere up from there. We've had volunteers this year. I mean, there's no cap, right? We had some people that were retired that came back, and wanted to help. So, but yeah, so each camper has to have a counselor, and then the volunteers are on top of that. Now, that doesn't mean that the only volunteers we have are overseeing those. We need volunteers for everything, There's ladies that volunteer in our break room to feed our counselors and our volunteers. I mean, you need them across the board, So, I mean, you need a good amount of people. So say if you had 100 campers, I mean, you're looking at like close to 300 people.
That's what I was thinking.
If my math is mathing right.
No, okay.
So, I mean, it can scale up really fast. And so, I mean, you have to have the place to be able to facilitate that. You know, that's not a small number of folks.
That's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if people want to get a hold of you or want some more information or they need help with resources, how do they do that?
So we have a Facebook page, Camp Lighthouse. They could also email me, Kelsey, KELSEY, .camplighthouse@gmail.com. So that'd be kelsey.camplighthouse@gmail.com. We are working on a website. Hoping to finish pamphlets, stuff like that, so we can get those out as well. Some more materials to, pass out. Want to get into all of the, therapy places, pediatricians' offices.
And that's not cheap either.
Well, I understand we have wonderful partners,
exactly,
supporters. So that's what helps make it possible too. But yeah, so visit the Facebook page. We'll make an announcement on the Facebook page once the website is done, or again email myself. So and they don't have to be shy. They can email even right now. Even though the camp isn't until July-ish, we're going to go over dates here in a couple weeks. So hoping to have the dates to be able to announce those soon. Because people need to be able to schedule on vacations and stuff like that. But our registration for next year, we have pinned to open March 1st. So that'll be here probably before we
you know it. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Couple minutes left. What do you see, or what do you hope to see for Tilly in terms of her future?
Whatever she wants. Whatever. We laugh because where we live in Pineville, we live very close to Montgomery Animal Hospital, and she has been very consistent for the last couple of years. Tilly, what do you want to be when you grow up? Who do you want to be? I want to be an animal doctor. I want to be a veterinarian.
Wow.
I was like, then you're going to do it. I have no doubt. Like, she's so smart and bossy, and she could run that thing. So my husband and I joke and say, all right, well, we'll buy a Montgomery Animal Hospital for you, and you can go run it, and you can have it. You know what I mean? That's the thing, is identifying these children's strengths and playing on it, pushing them. You know what I mean? I think now, I don't know if she'll ever drive or, live in another city on her own, which I'm fine with. But, sky's the limit. There's even been, to this point, things that I wasn't sure if she'd ever be able to do, and she proved me very wrong. So I can't imagine the next 10 years what that looks like, 20 years for her. But whatever she wants to do. She can do it. Like, I don't want to put a ceiling on her just because of a diagnosis. That's not good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I believe she can do it. She's so smart. She was to brag here a little bit, she was out of 1,200, I forgot what grade she was at that time, maybe just, we'll say in general, elementary students in Rapides Parish. On her reading, essentially, she was in the top 10 of the entire parish.
Oh, wow.
She's very smart. And that's the thing, they're so smart. They're so awesome. Like, find their strengths, push them to that, help them where they struggle. And as long as they feel supported and you get those early interventions, they'll have the confidence to do anything.
Which I was going to ask you, what would be your advice for Stephen?
I mean, advocate early intervention. Don't let anything that anybody tells you change your opinion of your child, and you're going to be just fine. And again, meet them where they are. Again, that's hard. At the end of the day, every single day, you're going to beat yourself up. Even typical developing children parents probably do that, but I always like to say that the Lord gives you those children because He knows that they need someone really special.
Yeah.
And so if you've been given this task, you are capable.
Absolutely.
And I think too, with who you are and your reach to so many people, like, you could make such an impact on awareness as well. And don't see that as something that, you would not want to share, but almost like the opposite. And like, because you could be someone that if they're listening to you somewhere, they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. He knows that, he understands it too, and he's someone that has a great following, or he's someone that maybe could connect me to resources because of that too. But I would just say, don't let the world's limits on your child be something that you project on your child. And I feel like y'all have already started doing so good with what y'all started doing with her.
I have an annoying obsessive personality, so I'm already like making sure everything's put in place from now until 20 years down the road, and all the different things. And you're talking about sassy and strong-headedness.
Go get ready.
Oh, I already know.
But those are the future CEOs of the world, right? Right?
Exactly.
But no, and like I said, like, this binder is just the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, as long as you're advocating and you're showing up, she's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And she has great parents.
We already see, well, thank you. We already see her growing so much. So
and that's the thing. Don't let anyone talk you out of her potential of that, you know?
For sure.
But yeah.
And we'll be here to help. So you'll
Yep.
be hearing from us for sure.
Perfect. I would
Right.
love to.
Camp Lighthouse is the ministry. Follow them on Facebook. Kelsey Alford has been our guest. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's probably like one of the best interviews we've had on here. This is great.
You're not lying.
Oh, I appreciate it. I would
Did a
love
good
to,
job.
to
All right,
come
Steven,
shout it some more.
You need to chop this one up so we can submit it for an award.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh,
It was
that's
good.
hilarious.
I will,
That's funny.
for sure. If it
Well.
recorded, who knows what today. So
Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thank
Thanks.
you so much.
Thank you.
By socialists is a step closer to the Senate. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The Associated Press has just called the race in Michigan for Abdul